So Sony had their annual State of Play event recently. I didn't check it out live because I honestly wasn't expecting much. I haven't owned a PlayStation ever since the PS2 days, but with Sony porting more and more of their games to the PC, it seems like I'll have a chance to check some of these out. If I ever get the money to upgrade my PC, that is. Here's my thoughts on the games that interested me. First, they announced a Mortal Kombat collection, which is cool. They heavily focused on the 2D arcade era games, MK1 through 3. At first, I really wasn't that excited because I feel the original MK trilogy gets more than enough attention from NetherRealm, but it's cool that they're including several versions of the games, such as console and even handheld ports. Besides that, they haven't revealed all the games that'll be in this collection, but Deadly Alliance is confirmed, which did pique my interest. Yeah, you can hate on the 3D Mortal Kombat games all you want, but those were my jam back when I was a kid and far too young to play them. Digital Eclipse, if you put all the PS2 Mortal Kombat games in this collection, including Shaolin Monks, my life is yours. Another game that's getting brought back is Final Fantasy Tactics. Tactical RPGs were always a genre I wanted to get more familiar with. I only really played the Shadowrun trilogy on PC, which is fantastic by the way, but I keep hearing about how great FFT is, so hopefully this is a good remaster. I won't lie, I don't really like it when they smooth over graphics too much, it just ends up looking weird to me. But thankfully, there's a classic mode and an enhanced mode which we'll be able to select between. Nice that this isn't just a bare minimum remaster and they seem to be putting in the work, even including voice acting, which wasn't present in the original. Now for a new game. We got Romeo is a Dead Man, coming from the king of cult games himself, Suda51. I love Suda. His games almost always have some rough edges to them, but they also always have a very distinct style and creative voice. Just a vibe that I really enjoy. The Silver Case, one of his earliest projects, is probably one of my favorite games ever. I just can't get enough of that game's atmosphere. Romeo is a Dead Man looks fun. I got kind of a Dead Rising vibe from the trailer, and we have Suda's usual blend of several different styles. The opening felt very Rick and Morty, but there's also some comic book stuff, some anime stuff. I know for a fact this game isn't gonna sell very well, but I'll check it out anyway. We also got our first look at IO Interactive's James Bond game, and Bond looks way too young for my taste. It's a young version of the character who's still learning the ropes thing is such a 2010-ass trope. They even did that on the Bond franchise itself with Casino Royale. That said, IO Interactive's Hitman games are top shelf stealth, so I'm still looking forward to seeing gameplay of this one. I'm just not very interested in the story. But then, closing out the show, we got the big reveal. Not Resident Evil 9, like so many people were hoping for, and certainly not anything made by Capcom. No, we got Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. First off, what the hell is that title? Second, this game seems like the definition of giving people what they didn't know they wanted. People who wanted Arc Sys to make Dragon Ball FighterZ 2 got cucked. People who wanted Marvel vs. Capcom 4 got cucked. With the announcement of this game, both FighterZ 2 and MVC 4 are not gonna happen for at least 7, even 8 years. And yet, the game looks awesome. It looks incredibly fun with great designs. The 4v4 setup is insane in a lot of ways, but it means the game's roster is gonna have to be massive in order to allow for some team variety. With that in mind, I hope the roster is fun and includes characters that haven't been a part of previous Marvel fighting games like Kingpin, Daredevil, or the Fantastic Four. If Arc Sys plays this right, this has the potential to be their literal biggest game ever in terms of sales. I would also like to mention, thank God Marvel seems to be done with their stupid ass MCU synergy nonsense. If you don't know, they used to have this brand-wide policy that anything Marvel had to draw inspiration from the MCU. The characters had to be from the MCU, the designs had to be similar, the plots had to be similar. It was a terrible decision that led to the very mid Avengers game, the cancellation of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and I suspect the crappy roster we got for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So yeah, cool that they're done with that idea, and Fighting Souls is only benefiting from it with its cool, inventive designs. Iron Man in particular looks like he should be shouting Henshin every time he puts the armor on. Overall, the event was okay. I'm not gonna pretend I was excited for every announcement, and as a matter of fact, getting a new Thief game, but it's fucking VR, feels like a serious monkey's paw moment. But there were still notable highlights. A 6 out of 10 if I had to grade it. What were some announcements you guys were excited for? Let me know in the comments, and as usual, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Till next time.